all of this, Caitlin Clark putting this league on her back and dragging it through the Sahara Desert, the WNBA cannot get out of its own way. Kathy Engelbert cannot get out of its own way. And yes, you, Adam Silver, can't get out of your own way. Because the WNBA has launched this 30th anniversary celebration. And who do they go get to be a spokesperson?
The WNBA is marking its 30th anniversary season with a promotional push that includes image campaigns, retrospective content, and merchandise. The centerpiece of that rollout is a teaser titled Raising Goats, starring Sheryl Swoopes. And almost immediately after the campaign went public, the backlash from fans, particularly those in the Caitlin Clark corner, came down hard. The frustration is easy to understand when you lay out the timeline. This is a league that spent 29 years without turning a profit.
Person for this said celebration, one of the most toxic individuals in the history of all sports, in Sheryl Swoopes. I mean, you can't make this up, folks. This is unbelievable. The one person that, well, not the one person, one of the most vocal people that shit on Caitlin Clark.
There is now some indication that the most recent season may have finally pushed them into the black, though no official confirmation has been released. A new CBA was signed that will push top salaries toward $1.4 million. And threading through all of it is the undeniable reality that Caitlin Clark's arrival fundamentally transformed the league's visibility, attendance, viewership, and ultimately its $2.2 billion media rights deal. The new fans she brought in are directly responsible for the financial position the league now finds itself in. So when the organization sat down to pick a face for its biggest milestone celebration, the choice of Swoopes has struck a large portion of the fan base as tone-deaf at best.
That, well, not the one person, one of the most vocal people that shit on Caitlin Clark pretty much her entire rookie season. Some of last season, until all of a sudden you could tell, oh, I'm trying to go back in the other direction. Didn't she get removed off of a podcast? Question mark? Wow. WNBA celebrates 30th anniversary season with image spots, retrospectives, and merch. Legendary player Sheryl Swoopes stars in Raising Goats.
Swoopes spent the better part of Clark's rookie season as one of the most vocal critics of the guard, openly dismissing her on multiple platforms in ways that went well beyond basketball analysis. The criticism was pointed, personal at times, and consistent enough that it drew widespread attention. She was eventually removed from at least one media role during that stretch. The Raising Goats campaign itself carries a message about building players up, encouraging the next generation, and passing on competitive hunger. Fans were quick to point out the irony of that message, coming from someone whose public commentary toward Clark represented the opposite.
Sheryl Swoopes stars in Raising Goats teaser that debuts today. Let's just go over here. We're going to watch this. Look, I may be a little rusty on WNBA history, but wasn't Cynthia Cooper just an absolute hoss on that Houston Comets squad? Am I going nuts? She was a beast. Why isn't she the one that's hosting this?
Social media reaction was swift and largely negative, with many viewers noting that the campaign seemed designed to rehabilitate Swoopes' image rather than genuinely celebrate the league's history. The casting decision also raises a legitimate historical question. Cynthia Cooper, who was the finals MVP on all four Houston Comets championship teams, a dynasty that defined the league's early years, has a stronger case as the defining figure of that era than Swoopes by several measures. Cooper's name is conspicuously absent from this campaign. The broader argument being made by critics of the decision is a strategic one.
Hosting this. We've done a lot in 30 years. The best part is we aren't done. 30th season starts May 8th.
Not all kids become goats.
Are you kidding me?
Because goats aren't just born, they're raised. We teach them to stay hungry.
Right to the chest.
Get loud. Build others up, even if it means knocking them down.
Took her breath away.
To stay confident and stay humble.
Other options existed. Breanna Stewart carries credibility across multiple generations of the league. Diana Taurasi, despite her own complicated relationship with Clark during the latter's rookie year, at least showed some growth in that dynamic as her career wound down. And the most obvious choice, Clark herself, would have commanded the attention of exactly the audience the WNBA needs to keep engaged heading into its next chapter. None of that happened.
Sometimes. Because that all-time part of greatest of all time, it includes the future.
Wait a minute. Let me just roll this somewhere. Didn't I see Centron hitting the ground somewhere? Where was that? Right here. So are we're still leaning into the let's beat the crap out of players on the court?
Instead, the league opened its anniversary season marketing with a figure who spent considerable time undermining its biggest current star. Clark played only 13 games last season due to injury, and in that shortened window, there were still multiple on-court incidents drawing scrutiny involving players like J.C. Sheldon, Marina Mabrey, and the ongoing Angel Reese subplot. The concern heading into 2026 is that the physical targeting of Clark has not gone away, and that the league's messaging choices do nothing to signal a change in that culture. Whether the campaign was a calculated attempt to bring Swoopes back into the mainstream or simply a poorly thought-out decision, the reception makes clear that the WNBA misread its audience on this one. The fans who generate the engagement numbers, fill the arenas, and drove the media rights conversation are not the ones celebrating this rollout.
Out of players on the court syndrome that this league has suffered from. That's what we're doing. By the way, guys, this is the first time I watched this because I wanted you guys to get my real visceral reaction. What in the world is this crap? Why would the league get her? And by the way, the WNBA, you're getting destroyed over this right now. I don't want Swoopes near these fine little goats.
The conversation around whether Indiana should bring Natasha Howard back deserves a more honest look than most takes have offered. She produced some genuinely impressive performances last season. That part is not in dispute. But the full picture of how she played across the entire year tells a very different story than the highlight moments suggest. The pattern that emerged over the course of the season was striking.
Swoopsy, the liar. Nobody cares about the WNBA, but Swoopes is not the GOAT. It's a decision to bring a generational hater as toxic as Swoopes to kick off the season. She sucks as a person. I'm going to keep it real. Why would you not get Caitlin Clark to...
During stretches when Caitlin Clark was sidelined with injury, Howard's scoring numbers climbed into the mid to upper teens consistently. When Clark returned to the lineup, those numbers dropped below 10. The contrast was not subtle. In the Atlanta game, where Clark barely touched the ball due to full court pressure and Kelsey Mitchell essentially ran point for most of the game, Howard finished with 26 points. In the Dallas game, where Clark was healthy and operating normally, Howard spent long stretches getting in Clark's way and vice versa.
Clark. And you're looking again when Caitlin Clark goes out injured. Caitlin Clark goes out injured suddenly. 13, 15, 16, 11, 21. Caitlin Clark comes back. 4, 9. And then again, 18 and a hammering. 18. Like, up to this point, she has averaged, without Caitlin Clark in the team, something like 14 or 15 points per game up until Caitlin was finished injury. With Caitlin Clark in the team, it's under 10. Like, it is under...
The two simply did not function well sharing the floor in a meaningful offensive system. Advanced metrics from the season look favorable for Howard on the surface, but context matters enormously. A significant portion of the minutes she logged alongside Clark came against the weakest competition on the schedule. When Clark was playing her best basketball, Howard was frequently reduced or removed from the rotation entirely. In the Atlanta blowout late in the season, Damiris Dantas replaced Howard for most of the second half because the coaching staff needed proper floor spacing to run Clark's offense effectively.
Was finished injury. With Caitlin Clark in the team, it's under 10. Like, it is under 10. And in this Atlanta game, if you guys don't remember Caitlin was just not even touched. Caitlin didn't touch the ball in this game. Caitlin Clark had 11 points. 11.6 assists. She was not playing point guard. It was Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell played point guard for 80% of this game. Caitlin Clark hardly touched the ball because anytime Caitlin Clark got full court press, Steph White didn't let her dribble to the floor. And Natasha Howard at 20.
That substitution pattern revealed something important about how the roster actually functioned when championships were on the line. The playoff numbers reinforced the concern. One strong game against Las Vegas in the opening round, followed by totals of 5, 7, and 6 points in the next 3 games. She contributed in the final game, largely because other players were dealing with injuries.
6 points. If you looked at how she played with Caitlin, other than the Dallas game, which she had 18, where they were up 30 against Dallas and she was running in open layups, she got in Caitlin's way, and Caitlin got in her way. It was as simple as that. People want to show advanced stats to say, oh yeah, look at Natasha Howard's advanced on-off numbers with Caitlin Clark. Yeah, because a lot of the minutes they played together were against bum teams. Like, no offense. Like, if you look at...
The closing stretch of the regular season was similarly uneven. 0 points against Chicago, 6 in a win over Phoenix, and stretches where she was outright benched in favor of Chloe, Bibby, and Dantas during critical late-game situations. The statistical red flags extend beyond scoring consistency. Howard shot 18% from three-point range over the past 2 seasons on nearly 2 attempts per game. That number does not improve the spacing that Clark's game depends on. It actively harms it.
Teams. Like, no offense. Like, if you look at games where Caitlin played really well, New York sat her ass on the bench. Was it? In fairness, she only had 4 points in this game. Caitlin played 13 minutes. Where is another good game that Caitlin played here? Dallas, in fairness, 24 minutes. Atlanta. If you remember this game here, where the Fever destroyed the Atlanta Dream. If you look at the box score here, Damiris Dan,
her assist to turnover rate
destroyed the Atlanta Dream. If you look at the box score here, Damiris Dantas played basically the whole second half instead of Natasha Howard. The reason why Dantas played nearly the whole second half is because the Fever switched up. The Fever 180'd, and they basically played more of a Caitlin Clark system, and they needed Dantas for spacing. There is a big, and even there was just a consistency problem. Even in the playoffs against the Aces, she was great in game 1. After a 6, 5, 7 in the next 3 games, she was pretty good in the last game because everyone else got hurt. It was like, if you look...
It took Howard 11 games to shoot above 50% from the line in back-to-back appearances. She stabilized somewhat as the season progressed, finishing around 71%, which is functional but far from the level a near-maximum contract player needs to deliver. None of this is an argument that Howard is a bad basketball player. She clearly has talent.
It was like, if you look here, it was and there was a spell near the end of the season where it was just poor. She was just poor. Like, 0 points against Chicago, 6 against Mercury in a win. And by the way, she got benched for Chloe Bibby in this game. If you remember this game here, she got benched for most of this game for Chloe Bibby. Or for a large chunks of the game for Chloe Bibby and Dantas. The two of them were playing a lot of the game. Late on in the game, it was Chloe Bibby in the game. Like,
she was outstanding in the Commissioner's Cup final, holding Nafisa Collier to a difficult shooting night while delivering offensively at a high level. That version of Howard is a real and capable player. The problem is that version showed up selectively, and the contract she would command on the open market somewhere around $800,000 based on her prior averages prices the Fever into a starter-level commitment for a player who cannot consistently start beside Clark. At 35 years old this coming season, with a track record of missing significant portions of the schedule, Howard represents a roster construction problem.
We all seem to misremember how Natasha Howard played, because if you look at advanced stats from the season, she looked good because she had a few exceptional games. Unbelievable in the Commissioner's Cup final. Cannot stress that enough. In the Commissioner's Cup final, Natasha Howard was fantastic. Deserving of her MVP. She played great defense on Nafisa Collier, holding feet at 12 points, 6 of 18 in the field, and did not...
Indiana already has Aaliyah Boston at the 4 and 5. Playing Howard alongside Boston creates a front court without shooting, without passing, and without the pace the offense needs. What the Fever actually require at that position is floor spacing, someone like Alana Smith or a comparable stretch forward who can pull the defense out and give Clark driving lanes. Returning to Howard with near maximum money would mean repeating the exact same structural weakness that analysts and supporters identified a year ago.
On Nafisa Collier, holding feet at 12 points, 6 of 18 in the field, and did not shoot well from the field at all, but finally shot well from the free throw line. This was a Natasha Howard who, up to this point in the year, was, we called her Alyssa Smith 2.0 because she couldn't hit a free throw. Like, if you look at Natasha Howard from the free throw line to start the year, I mean this when I say this. This is Natasha Howard to start the year. 3 for 8, 0 for 4, 1 for 2, 0 for 0, 1 for 2, 1 for 2. It took Natasha Howard 7 games to shoot 50% from the free throw line in a game. And then it took her...
Before Clark's commercial explosion changed the financial picture around the roster, the consistent topic of conversation was that Indiana needed to upgrade that power forward spot. Paying a premium to stay in the same place solves nothing. There is a right destination for Howard elsewhere in the league, and she should find it. It simply is not Indiana.